So listen, pests will absolutely be coming for your veggies this spring. And if I knew these two simple ways to stop them when I began only a few years ago, it would have saved me a ton of headache, heartache, and frustration. And I'm hoping that sharing this with you is going to save you from having to experience what I experienced. And these are things that should be done or prepared before your seedlings touch the soil. My name is Taquisha. This is Our Freedom Song, and I am so happy that you're here. So as you can see from inside of the greenhouse, I have a ton of plant babies in here growing. But even the most experienced gardener will tell you that they love buying plant babies from their local nursery. Maybe they have a local 4-H with lots of children who are in those greenhouses and they're planting their hearts away. Whatever the situation may be, I am with them and I am surrounded by plants that I started from seed, but I will still purchase a plant start, y'all, especially when it's a variety that I just find really challenging to grow or just something very exotic or fun. So I was actually traveling this weekend and went to a incredible GREENSTALK event. It was so amazing. Like every single thing about it was amazing. And on our way back, we stopped in Spartanburg, South Carolina, y'all. And there was this cute little local nursery there. I was so excited to find it on our trip. Went there, so many incredible herbs and flowers and all the things, which made my heart so happy. So of course I wanted to bring at least a handful of plant babies home with me, which I did. So many cool varieties of herbs, mints, y'all, oh my goodness. And I also grabbed a tray of lettuces, which made me think, oh my goodness, I remember last year when I purchased some brassicas from my local farm store, and I realized that there were bugs on them, which was so surprising to me. And so I did a video last spring or summer, I think it was spring. Last spring, I did a video showing everybody and just presenting that idea of, wait, if you get your plant starts from the store, definitely do this, which is look on the back of your plant babies and make sure there are no pests, because there could be pests. So by simply taking your plant start and looking on the back, inspecting the leaves, making sure that you are not giving something a ride to your garden like cabbage worms or aphids. You don't want to give these things a way to get into your garden. And so when you buy that plant start from the store and you bring it home, just inspect it really well. If you see any aphids or any bugs at all, make sure you rinse those off, so that when you put them into your garden, you are giving yourself a fresh start, because the pests are going to come, but you don't want to bring them to your garden. So if you do end up going and buying some plant starts from your local feed store or local farm store or friend or even a big box store, wherever you go, a lot of things that are going to be out are going to be brassicas. And as I was thinking about that, I was like, this is definitely something that I need to talk about, because when I just began only a few years ago, I had no idea what a brassica was. And stick with me, because this is going to lead to my second point. I don't know if anybody else is dealing with all of the pollen that is everywhere. It's on everything. I've had the greenhouse windows open, and that's what you saw, all on our little plant babies in there. So much pollen. Okay, so I thought I was going to sit outside, but it's way too loud out there. And so I decided just to come back into the greenhouse because I really want to have this conversation with you. So what are brassicas? Brassicas are a group of cool season vegetables that belong to the pretty much brassica family. So think broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, all of your cabbages, collard greens, kale, all of those beautiful leafy vegetables. And brassicas are known for like their thick leaves, all of that dense nutrition, right? They also thrive in cooler temperatures. So you can plant a brassica in the spring, and you can also plant a brassica in the fall. And a really cool tidbit about brassicas is after they get a really light frost like that, when that temperature drops and your brassicas are out there, that's whenever their starches actually turn into sugars, and that's what makes your brassicas just more sweet. You've ever tasted like some broccoli and you're like, wow, like this is kind of like sweet? That's how it was recently whenever I harvested our broccoli and I made soup. I ate some fresh and I was like, I have never tasted anything like it. And the same goes for the collards that I planted and eaten. I was like, oh my goodness, there's just nothing like growing your own food and tasting it. When you grow your own food and you take that bite, it's going to be the best food that you ever tasted. You're going to be like, wow. Especially if you already like vegetables and you buy vegetables from the store, it's night and day. So those brassicas is what leads me really to the second point. And the second point on how to protect your garden from pests, how to protect your food from these pests, is row covers. Row covers are very important when it comes to protecting your food from pests. And it's important if you are growing brassicas. So that is where it ties in. The brassica with the second point of protecting your garden. And I don't know if you have just several questions popping up in your mind right now, like how are you able to cover all of your vegetables and still have them produce your veggies? Like, how is that? And the answer to that is that your brassicas actually don't need pollination. They don't need the bees or any other pollinator to come and spread the pollen around and produce fruit for you, because that's not what you're eating. You're eating that green leafy goodness on a brassica and not the fruit or necessarily like the seed. They are different from something like a cucumber or a squash or a tomato that has those flowers that need to be pollinated in order to create your vegetable or the fruit. Another cool bit to know is that brassicas are actually biennial, and that just means that they produce their seed in the second year. In their first growing season, they focus on producing large edible leaves like kale or flower heads like broccoli. But if you leave them in the garden over winter, in the second year, they bolt or flower. And in the second year, that is when they would need pollination. So when they flower and then they're pollinated, those flowers turn into seed pods. And so the pollination actually helps to develop the seeds. Just like with everything, there's always an exception, right? So some variations like mustard greens or bok choy, they will actually flower in their first year. If it gets hot or when it gets hot, those veggies will actually bolt. They'll bolt or flower. And so that has happened already here in our garden. First year flowering from our bok choy, as well as second year flowering on this sunlight. It's glorious. It's turning me orange. Oh my goodness. I could just like feel the sun rising right now and I'm just glowing. Oh my goodness. With all the shadow of all the plants in the back. Like, how fun. I can literally see the sun like setting behind me. That is bright. That is a bright old sun. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'll turn some. Wait. Okay. I am out of direct light and kind of in the shadows. And so let's continue. The exception, that's where we were in bolting, like our bok choy that bolted from hot weather. Yes. So if you know exceptions, that's right. So if you know of any exceptions, definitely leave those down below to share with everybody, because we learned so much from that comment section, y'all. So because of what we just learned about brassicas, that is why you don't have to worry about row covering damaging or affecting the growth of your brassica, and why they are going to actually be necessary to protect your garden from pests. Because best believe those cabbage worms, they coming for your brassicas. Like, they are on their way right now. They are en route. They en route. Like, it's just like clockwork. Believe me. So 2 things. Look behind your plant babies, check those leaves. Second thing, absolutely use row covers. Absolutely use row covers. I bought mine from Amazon for about $3, and each one of those covered every bed that I had. A super great deal that I found. Some people use tulle from the store. And so just find something that's inexpensive that you can use. Just go online and search for insect netting or something like that. Or like I said, you could use tulle or something. But whatever you do, just cover your plant babies. Now I'm going to show you a super simple way that I made my arches to put my insect netting over. Very inexpensive. I went to Lowe's and I got some, what is it, PVC like piping that's like 1/2 inch. And then I got some bamboo sticks from, I think, the Dollar Tree. And I just used that and I just put the netting on top of that. So here's an example. As you can see, it's just here. And I have a little bamboo stick. Some people you can use really anything you want. I know some people use like a type of like metal bar that you can get, some rebar. But I just use that and put it on here whenever I needed to cover up this bed with plastic, because we were getting another frost and I was trying to protect all of my calendula and chamomile that I'm growing in this bed. I hope that helps anybody out there who is starting out, thinking about growing your brassicas and wanting to protect your garden from the pests that will absolutely come. I hope this was a treasure trove and that you could take it from me. Lesson learned on my part. So I hope that helps you. Until next time, friends. Hey, you guys, I needed to hop back on while I was editing the video. I just realized that maybe I wasn't as clear as I wanted to be. I'm outside, lots of laughter going on, and so I'm going to make this very short. Just to add that one of the exceptions is that your veggie, your brassica that is supposed to flower the second year, can actually flower the first year as well, and that is bolting. So I've already had that with some of the lettuce that I showed you guys. Some of that lettuce has bolted because even when I got it in Spartanburg, it's a little cooler because that's north of here than it is here. And we've had warm days. And so me bringing it here, I have it under shade. Even though I have it under shade, it's starting to, some of the bits are starting to flower and try to bolt. And so I pinch that away because I don't want it to flower or bolt. And I'm hoping that it can get used to the temperature. So what happens is it's used to a certain temperature, then all of a sudden it just gets tremendously hot and then it thinks it needs to go to flower. So I don't want you to think that if you have a, say, a collard or something and it actually starts to flower prematurely, that can happen as well if it just gets extremely hot. If it goes from cool weather to really hot weather like it does here in South Carolina. I'm in South Carolina zone 8B, so more mid to like southern part of the state. And so it just gets hot. So we go from very cold days to really warm days. Like the day that I shot that video, it was probably 80 degrees outside. It was very, very warm, very beautiful, very warm. And today it's in the 60s, so I'm cold. Like I have on a sweater. Well, I probably always have on a sweater just because the bugs and all the things, even though right now there's not really any bugs. And so that makes me really, really happy. So anyway, I just wanted to hop in as I was finishing editing that video. And I was like, you know what? Let me clarify. I just want you to know that your brassica can absolutely bolt on its first year. And I just wanted to clarify that because that is an exception. That is one exception that I just wanted to mention. So I do hope that that helps. I hope that everything made sense as far as talking about your brassicas and just it being a spring crop as well as a fall crop. Me personally, I love growing brassicas in the fall. I do not care for all of those cabbage worms and flea beetles and all the things that come for those brassicas. And so my only exception this fall is going to, or this spring, my only exception this spring, I do have a couple cabbages. I have one growing, the red rock cabbage growing inside of the GREENSTAK, and I'm gonna let that grow, although I've already seen nibbles. So what happens in the spring is the bugs will come and you have to really make sure it's protected. But even in the fall, because you are planting, well, I don't know about you in your zone, but for here, we start our brassicas for fall in August, and it is crazy hot outside. So if you plant anything and it's so hot outside, like the pest pressure is just way high. And so it's important. Just trust me on the row covers, y'all. I actually did not do row covers my first year because I just didn't like the way that they looked. I'm like, that's ugly. And I really didn't have a lot of problems in the fall with any type of pests, really. It was in the spring trying to grow brassicas and realizing like, oh my goodness, first of all, it gets so hot here quickly. It goes from winter to spring to what feels like summer. It feels like summer inside of spring. And so just getting that premature bolting, lots of pest pressure. And so I don't deal with that as much in the fall. So that's why I prefer personally to grow brassicas in the fall. So I actually have brassicas growing right now. As I showed you guys, it's going to seed. I'm actually going to harvest those leaves. They're still beautiful, you know, not much pest pressure. I'm going to harvest that, and then I'm going to pull the plant so that I can prepare for the spring, because we are less than 2 weeks away, y'all. And I really want to do a garden tour before I pull everything and then replant. So definitely stay tuned and look forward to that garden tour coming up.